we thought it wouldn't happen. A long hiatus. Darkness swept the land. But then, a ray of light shone across the world. That ray of light is Susan Eisenberg smiling at me from the other side of the Zoom screen. There she is. We're back, folks.
Are you sure you're not a voice actor full-time? Because that sounded very much like a trailer.
Oh, thank you.
Really damn good trailer to a movie. We're back.
We're back.
And I couldn't be more excited. It feels like we've talked in the hiatus, but still, I haven't seen this version of you in a while, and it's lovely to be back.
So excited.
I've missed this.
I know. We so many of you reached out some people reached out to directly on Geek to Me Radio Facebook to say, "Hey, you guys are coming back, right? There's more Justice League coming." And we had
Did they whisper it?
They did. They were
whisper
very
it?
very soft because I don't like cause when people type in all caps, then I know they're screaming. So it was like a thing from Emily Dickinson or E.E. Cummings. It was all lowercase, very quiet. But no, people were on Twitter were even asking us, and thank you all for listening. I put out an announcement a little while back to let everyone know today, May 6th, we will be back with brand new episodes. And true to my word, Susan Eisenberg, the voice of Wonder Woman, and I are back. Here we are getting ready to cover Justice League Unlimited. I'm so excited about this run.
It's a good one. I mean, don't people talk about this cartoon as like maybe one of the best ever? Yeah. Like, so it's all awaiting us, which is so thrilling. And we have wonderful people lined up, and we'll hopefully line up a lot more. A lot of celebrities, not easy to get, right?
Yeah.
So we're trying, folks. But I'm excited. This, and it was funny in this first episode because you don't hear from me, you just see me. And I think that's going to happen a lot more in Unlimited.
Yeah, with what they talked about. Yeah, they couldn't even do all 7 of the original characters in every episode of the original Justice League. Now we're dealing with 95 characters.
Crazy.
So we're never going to see them all. But I do really love those episodes where we get a bunch of them, like the Suicide Squad episode where Amanda Waller sends the strike team to go and get back the Destroyer armor. Which actually the Destroyer armor is, I'm thinking, Thor. The one that you and Hawk and Dove had to fight.
I loved that episode.
Forged by Hades.
Yes.
Ares. It was, that episode's great because Atom Smasher's in it, Vigilante's in it, we get Martian Manhunter. It's such a good episode. But I like these quieter ones, and I say quiet, we're dealing with a nuclear threat here with Initiation.
Yes. Yes.
First episode of the first season, Initiation, which we'll talk a little bit more about that when we get into it with our guest here. But what an episode. I'm so excited with a way to kick off the series. They knocked it out of the park, introducing Green Arrow, and we're going to knock it out of the park because we got a really fantastic guest for this one.
And I love how you correlated the, Unlimited with Mark's comic run. That made perfect sense to me once you explained it very slowly.
Yeah. So we've got none other than Mark Waid joining us, which is super exciting because he's got a comic out called Justice League Unlimited. It's not related to the DC Universe Justice League Unlimited, but it's kind of that same concept of, and we'll get into a little bit more, not to get too deep in the weeds, but after the events of Absolute Power, there was a kind of a structural shift, much like they did with Crisis on Infinite Earth, kind of reset the DC Universe. This was a softer reset, but now the Justice League is literally unlimited. They're picking specific people from the roster to face certain threats, but they are all in. So we've got Firestorm on the team, The Question, Martian Manhunter, we've got Supergirl, we've got Swamp Thing, and we've got all sorts of people, Zatanna, much like the cartoon. The fact that Mark is writing this comic book and it's called Justice League Unlimited made me think he is the perfect guest to kick off this run as we start Justice League Unlimited.
All right, so should we get to it?
Without further ado, writer extraordinaire Mark Waid, thank you so much for doing this. It's thrilling to have you on for this as we launch Justice League Unlimited for so many reasons.
My pleasure. I'm really excited about the podcast. I like the remit of what you guys are doing, and I'm happy to be a part of it.
Oh, that's great. We so appreciate it. Thank you.
You bet.
So I'm curious, let's start with the comic book, Justice League Unlimited. I've got those of you who can't see it because you're not watching with us, but issue number 5 right here. I can't understand how you and Dan Moore are able to pump out World's Finest and this. I mean, you're taking a break from it to do our podcast. How do you have time?
Dan is the fastest artist alive. Dan is astounding. Dan could do 3 books a month if he really put his nose to the grindstone. And he has kids and he has a family. I don't understand where he makes the time, but he is, and of course, I'm never letting him go. I will ride or die with Dan. No matter how many books a month he wants to do, I will match that with him if I have to. So he's incredible.
Yeah, absolutely. I love the art. It's just so clean and beautiful, and it's perfect comic book style for both the books that you guys are working on. And I'm excited to dig into that more. So this is on its 5th issue. How far out in advance do you have planned right now? Are you guys kind of working 12 issues at a time? Is it going to be a continuous story thread with different stuff woven throughout?
A little bit. We've got the next 5 or so planned out. This is leading into a big 6-part crossover between World's Finest and Justice League that is called We Are Yesterday. And it is about the return of the Legion of Doom to the modern continuity and their big battle against the Justice League. And so that's 6 parts across World's Finest and Justice League that takes us through Justice League 8. 9 and 10 are pretty well blocked out. And from there, I go back to my original method, which is making it up as I go.
That's what Susan and I do on this show. So we're well acquainted with that method.
Yeah, it's not a method I recommend for younger writers, but I tend to build the plane while I fly it. It's just more fun that way.
Do you ever get writer's block?
I don't, because here's the thing. Here's what I think writer's block is. Okay. I think writer's block is, all right, everybody's put together a piece of IKEA furniture at one point in their life, right? And everybody knows the frustration of getting to stage 12 and you realize you screwed up stage 2.
Yeah.
I think that's what writer's block is. I think it is your subconscious is holding you back from going further down a path that you probably shouldn't be going down. And so the way I deal with it is I just go back to the last place where it was really clicking and really working, and then just turn left. I got nothing to lose. But let's just try a completely different direction and see what else might come of it. The worst case scenario is I'm still left with no story, but more often than not, it just sparks new ideas.
That's great advice. I got to be honest.
Thank you.
Has that happened with, are there any stories that you've written in the past where you're like, here's a perfect example of what, that can you right off the top of your head?
Oh, trust me. I think 90% of what I've written, that happens at one point or another. So I'm my own worst critic, and I just, I find myself getting hung up 2/3 of the way through everything, going, have I made the right choices? Am I doing this right? Is there a better way to do this? But again, that's the job, right? After doing it for 40 years solidly, in order to keep myself fresh and keep myself in the game, I just have to continue to beat old Mark Waid at his game every month.
Wow.
And for those of you listening, just so you know, this won't be entirely about comics, but I want to keep it in that realm for just a minute. I'm curious, with the process you just described, there's the kind of like chunks of stories in World's Finest. Like we had the great Who Killed Simon Stagg, where they're investigating Metamorpho. You guys did stuff recently with Jason Woodrue. So there's these nice arcs that you can read, but there's that through line. Is that just easier to write because you're dealing with mainly 2 characters and a guest star versus an all-encompassing plot for the Justice League entirely?
Oh, God, yes.
Okay.
Oh, God, yes. The beauty of Justice League Unlimited is it's everybody. The danger of Justice League Unlimited is that it's everybody. And so coming up with threats that can accommodate massive, everybody in the DC universe is a challenge. And the way you deal with that mostly is you break them up into smaller groups. But even still, it is a challenge. World's Finest is like falling off a log. I could write World's Finest for the rest of my life.
And hopefully you will, because I've really enjoyed it so far. We're 37 issues in now, so
I think 38 comes out tomorrow. Yeah,
perfect. Well, I'll be there at Bugs Comics picking that up off the shelf. With this comic, obviously aptly named Justice League Unlimited, because this is our first launch. We just finished going through the Justice League series. Now we're doing Unlimited. That's kind of what these episodes, Susan and I have talked about this before. Each one of these, they've gone from a 2 or 3 part story arc in Justice League to just 1 part episodes. And they're doing like what you did. They kind of break it down into this team. For example, the issue we're covering today, I'm back on comic books. The episode we're covering today, Initiation, is the first episode of season 1 of Justice League Unlimited, first airing on Toonami, July 31st, 2004. Hard to believe that was coming up on 21 years ago. Written by Stan Berkowitz, directed by Joaquim DeSantos. When you're writing characters, I'm not sure how big of an influence Justice League Unlimited and the Justice League run had on you, but do you hear Phil Lamar's voice when you're writing Green Lantern? Do you hear Jeffrey Combs when you're writing The Question?
I tend to, actually. I mean, that's very true. It's true because these the actors, and let's please not forget Susan, have defined those voices for us creators in a way where it's impossible to shake that in the best possible way. I mean, the same way that no Iron Man writer has ever written Iron Man the same after Robert Downey Jr. came along. The way that, Phil and Susan and George have embraced, have embodied these characters, it just echoes in your brain. Absolutely.
I feel like I'm doing all the talking. I want to make sure Susan gets a
no, I'm too busy smiling because to have Mark Waid talk about our show and my voice, it's very flattering.
And what's amazing is that in 2004, so Susan and I were both 12 when at the time.
Yes,
so
it was weird.
Very talented, very much ahead of our times. Very talented.
And the fact that she was doing those voices for Diana at such a young age.
I know. Look, I'm blushing. I'm blushing.
The child labor laws that Andrea Romano broke. It's amazing. But what do you remember your first episode of Justice League or Unlimited that you came across, or did you start from the beginning when you knew they were launching it? Do you remember, Mark?
Oh yeah, I started from scratch. We were a bunch of us gathered together on my place at Friday night, ready for the first incarnation of the Justice League show. I remember being pumped up by Justice League Unlimited because that's my favorite thing. It is not just focusing on a small group of characters, and that's kind of what led me to the Justice League Unlimited comic. Is that I've been doing World's Finest, and as you can see, if you're reading World's Finest, I love having guest stars on. I love being able to bring other obscure characters out of the DC pantheon and giving you my take on them. And that led my editor to go, well, you're doing that and we enjoy what you're doing there. And you're enjoying what you do there, Mark. That's set in a near past, not exactly up to the minute continuity. Why don't you do it here as well? So that gave birth to the Justice League Unlimited new series. The idea that now I have the entire DC universe to play with, and I can give you, hopefully, a perspective on each of these characters that maybe you hadn't considered before. Maybe a perspective that I have been carrying around with me since I was a kid that maybe I want to share.
I love what's going on
to
with
be able
John.
to do that.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I was saying what a gift to be able to do that, to have all these, to be carrying around these things in your mind and your heart all these years, and then be able to give life to them and give voice to them.
It really is.
Wow.
If you find after an entire lifetime of knowing Superman's social security number is finally paying off. I still don't know my senator's name, but I know everything about Wonder Woman. So this is my place to finally get to use that knowledge.
Yeah, it's brilliant.
And with the stuff you're doing in Justice, like I especially love what's going on with Jean, where he's now lost his power as a result of Absolute Power, the miniseries that came out before this. And he's, we've talked to Carl Lumley on this show before. He's just such an amazing character, and he's given such a powerful voice to Jean. And to read him how you're writing him without that telepathic ability in Justice League Unlimited, that's such an interesting place to take. And I wish there was a way to bring back the cartoon so we could explore that with Carl's voice. It's amazing.
That's true. That's true. And all of that comes from my approach, which is always to write the characters from the inside out, to really give serious thought to, if you have these powers and abilities, how do you move through the day? How do you perceive the world? If you're a telepath and all that stuff is cut away from you, you're functionally blind. It is as if we had lost our hearing and sight senses at the same time. It is that level of loss. And so that then gives John a whole new role in the Justice League, at least temporarily. We will give him his powers back. And that's true with all the characters. I enjoy doing that.
Yeah.
And Justice League Unlimited gives me the chance.
We could always think about an audio drama. Animating is so challenging. That's like the biggest, problem to get past. I mean, you have to have somebody sign on to do that. That's where it gets really complicated. But we could, it would be lovely to assemble some of us and have us read some of your work. That would be extraordinary.
That's very kind. Or, bat out some new stuff. I've done a lot of scripted podcasts in the last few years, and it is so much fun to do because you don't have a page count, which is awesome.
Yes.
Do you need a line in here? Okay, I'll just stick it in. I don't need to worry about time limits or anything like that. So
absolutely.
But it would be lovely to do some sort of read. It would be curious. I'm curious to see whether the dialogue that I put on the paper reads as well as it does, verbally as it does on paper. I don't know.
Well, I have some numbers in my Rolodex. So anytime you want me to get the band back together, you just let me know.
I will do so.
Because I know some people who would jump at that opportunity.
I think Phil. I think you and I both know Phil pretty well. I know Phil.
Yes.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, just the whole. I mean, everyone, Maria, George, Michael. There's no one in our group that wouldn't want to be reunited if we could.
That is great, and deservedly so. I mean, what a team! What a team that lineup was.
It was a good team. James, do we want to talk about who's in this episode? Who stars in this episode?
Yes. Why, yes, of course. We've got making his Justice League debut, Green Arrow, voiced by Ken Schreiner, who we've had on my show, Susan. We had the both of you on to talk about Green Arrow in general. And for those of you listening right now, Ken's on deck. We're going to have him on, so just stand by for that. But now, again, he's one of those people, I never really had a voice per se, even though Stephen Amell did the Arrow, the live action. It's still Ken for me. The way he did that voice. And I just read today that evidently James Marsters was up for the role and Ken beat out James Marsters.
Oh, okay.
So
that's impressive.
And ironically, Ken had never done anything like this. Nothing. And Ken, Mark he probably doesn't know this, but Ken is one of my closest friends.
Yeah.
And Ken had never done anything like animation, and all of it was new to him. But I have to say, because he always teased me that the show really got its footing once Unlimited started. He always teases me about that. But I have to say, I haven't seen this episode in forever, and I'm just on camera in this episode. I don't have any dialogue. And I rarely got to work with him. Like, we were rarely together. And he was also in New York when he was doing this, because he was shooting As the World Turns, the soap opera. But I just was so blown away by his performance. He's so this character. He is Green Arrow. He is just delightful in this part. And I can't wait to have him on so he can, but I know the fans are crazy about this character and Ken voicing this character. So it'll really be fun to have him on and he can talk about it.
And we've got George Eads voiced Captain Atom, or Corporal Atom, as Supergirl refers to him. Supergirl, reprised by Nicole Tom. General Kwan was James C., who I believe you did Jackie Chan Adventures with, Susan.
Yes. And I, at the time we were doing Jackie Chan, we couldn't admit that James C. was voicing Jackie Chan because it was supposed to be Jackie.
Right.
But you would just sit back in the sessions and just be awed by his talent. And everything came out so genuinely as Jackie, the humor, the laugh, the seriousness, the sweetness. He was Jackie. It was uncanny. And when people find out to this day that it was not Jackie, except for the intros and the outros, people are astounded that it was an actor doing that. So yes, James is lovely, and he will be a guest on the show at some point too.
Yes,
so that'll be wonderful.
We'll have him on when we get to the clones that Cadmus made. He played Wind Dragon in a later episode, so we'll have him on for that one, I'm sure. If you could voice any character in the Justice League world, Mark, who would you voice?
Great question.
Sorry?
That was a great question,
That
James.
was a really good question. In my perfect world, I would voice Superman, but I'm not. I don't have that voice exactly. That was my fallback career. That was voice acting, announcing when I was growing up, when I was a teenager, young man. That was my fallback career. So it's not a completely out of the blue question. But I You know who I love? I love Robin in any incarnation, whether he's Dick Grayson, whether he's Jason Todd, whether he's Tim Drake, whether he's Damien. I'll give me Robin, and I can knock that out of the park.
But I love hearing you say Superman because so many people say Batman.
Of course they did. And it's the same with writing these characters. You ask most writers what they want to write, and they're like, Superman's dull, give me Batman. But which makes me, it's a miracle I'm not in jail by now.
No,
having to deal with those people. Yeah.
I get it. It's so maddening. It's so maddening because, I'm with you on that one. But I love hearing you say Superman because I think most people, when you say, oh, what's your favorite character? What would you like to play or voice? Batman's at the top of the list. Always.
Yeah.
And he's a great character. Don't get me wrong.
Oh, he is. But Superman, I think, is more of a challenge, and I think that's what makes that character an interesting character to act or voice or personify in any way or to write.
That's a great. Yep. Yeah. Absolutely.
Since we're kind of on that topic, what are your initial thoughts? We've seen some teaser trailers and everything for James Gunn's Superman. David Corenswet looks every bit the part, in my opinion. Do you have any initial thoughts on what we've seen so far?
Oh, I'm in. I'm 100% in. I don't have much inside knowledge because DC a few months ago had all the Superman writers and artists down to the Atlanta set to visit James and to see the stuff and to look at the behind the scenes. And I was the one who couldn't go because I was on his way to another convention. So a sucky convention too, on top of everything else. So I was looking at all these photos and I felt like the kid with strep throat on snow day, watching everybody else play in the snow. But all this to say that all my friends came back and they all said, we can't tell you much, but you will love this. This is tonally, character-wise, this is exactly what you think Superman is, Mark. This movie was made for you, and I'm all in.
What a wonderful gesture to have everyone come into the set. I mean, that fills me with hope for the future in regard to this DC.
Right. They clearly, exactly. To be fair, Marvel did the same thing with the Fantastic Four.
Who?
Marvel. To be fair, Marvel did the same exact thing with the Fantastic Four.
Marvel did. I know they're a company.
I know. I've heard their names. They did the same thing with the Fantastic Four crew, where they brought all the writers and artists out to the set. And I was at another convention that weekend once more. So I was the only one who missed both.
Okay, Moral of the story is Mark will no longer be doing conventions until these movies
no more travel for me.
So is it for actors, we have to sign a contract that will appear. So is it the same for you that you sign that contract and then you really do have to appear at these conventions?
Yes. Okay. And also if they've publicized, this.
Yes.
I mean, they've publicized, they've used your name, and you really, every once in a while, of course, you do have to pull out because of illness or whatever, but it always feels terrible. Awful. There are people there just to see you, and you don't want to do that.
Yeah.
And you must do almost as many of these as I do, Susan.
I probably don't, but thank you for saying so.
Do you have a favorite? I'm saying. I know we're not talking about the show. I'm sorry. My bad.
No, we're good.
If you had a favorite, Susan.
Well, I think my favorite hasn't happened yet. James has started his own Comic-Con in St. Louis because there wasn't one there and it made him sad. So he started one. So I'll be attending his in May. But I think New York Comic-Con and Denver were two of my favorites because that's where we did a reunion.
Yeah. Right.
We did reunions there.
Denver's really good.
Denver was great.
New York makes me feel like a war criminal. It is so overwhelming.
It is.
But the Denver show is a really good one.
Denver was wonderful. And I like the smaller ones. I mean, New York was special because we had a Justice League reunion there.
Right.
But if I have a choice, I like a smaller town feel to a convention because like you, I mean, it can feel it's too much. But you're also, a lot of the time you're sitting at a table or you're sitting on a panel. So sometimes you don't even know which city you're in until you leave for the day and then you get to see and go out to dinner and meet people on the street and everything like that.
If you're lucky, but I know you've also been to ones where you just fly into the hotel and never the airport, and the next thing you know, you're on a plane back, and you didn't even really get to see the city. So
100%. 100%. And you're exhausted at night. So, you don't really want to see the town.
People don't understand. And again, not a criticism, but people don't understand the amount of energy it takes. Right? To be behind that table and to be gracious to everyone as you should be. And to be, but there's so much energy that it takes to do that. I don't know about you, but at the end of a long day, I just face plant in the bed and that's it.
Hello, room service.
Exactly.
Yeah, the last one I saw you at, Mark, was Terrificon, and for my money, I always say Mitch probably puts on the best Comic Con in the country. It's amazing.
Yeah, Mitch's show is great.
It's all self-contained. That's right. You've both been there. It's self-contained in the Mohegan Sun, so you have 8 different restaurants without ever leaving the hotel. It's great.
Yep. Oh, I don't think we set foot outside for 5 days. That's the God's honest truth. I know we didn't. So.
That's great.
There's a lot to be done. Switching it back to the episode, one of the things I like was Green Arrow's debut. We got to see a lot of Green Arrow's arrows. We get the boxing glove arrows, several exploding arrows, a net arrow, 2 regular arrows that he had just with the steel tips, took the guy's gun out of his hand, and then he does the thing with the carbon rods at the end where he ties it together. So I liked seeing the variety. They really, I felt, utilized Green Arrow to all of his strengths, kind of pitching him against the more superpowered people like Green Lantern, Captain M, and Supergirl. Is that the way, if you're writing Green Arrow, Mark, is that the way it's to be done, where to have that difference between him and the more powered guys?
Oh, yeah. I mean, but it's not just about the arrows, although I love the fact that you catalog them. And those are an important part of anytime you want to bring that character on. But what struck me rewatching the episode was his attitude toward the Justice League and his attitude toward being a part of such a massive team and his attitude toward being caught in a political situation, which distances him from everyone else in the cast. He's a unique point of view, and it was certainly consistent with his comic book characterization. But I love the fact that he was the outsider who had to be roped in.
Mm-hmm. Totally. And it's funny because who ropes him? But Batman, who is the ultimate outsider.
Exactly.
I mean,
good point.
He's like saying, come join. Since when are you a joiner, Bats? I mean,
but that episode also did something I think really smart. And I have to follow these same rules when I write a first issue of everything. You have to remember that this is someone's first episode. This is a lot of people's first encounter with the Justice League or first encounter with these characters. So you need to set them up. You need to introduce them properly. That means not putting 85 characters in the first episode. It means drilling down on a select few that have attitudes and personalities that don't always mesh. Mm-hmm. So they're bouncing off of each other. And it just sets up the whole reason for this, the whole remit for the entire series. And that is, there's a lot of great things about that episode, but that, from a structural standpoint, is something that I appreciate.
Yeah, that was perfect. And I love that you got to see all the characters.
Yeah.
But you didn't have to hear from them. There weren't scenes. You just saw them all in the, and it was brilliantly done. Brilliantly done. But that is a great point. Like, he didn't have a lot of interaction with a lot of characters. It was Supergirl. And it was so, and it was it's 22 minutes.
Yeah. Total.
Yeah. I don't know any writers other than Stephen King who can balance a cast of like 25 characters. I can't. And I find that when I try, what you lose is the emotional stuff. What you lose is the character beats that you get, especially from Captain Atom and Green Arrow in this episode. Mm-hmm. There's no room for that stuff if you've got to do 12 other characters. I keep stepping on you. I'm sorry.
No, you're not. It's fine. One thing I will say is that when Green Lantern is unconscious and he says Shahira. It was like 1 second of that episode, and it was so touching to me that you talked about those beats, those emotional beats, and there it was, one word. And did that jump out at you, James, at all when he says that?
Absolutely, because this obviously is a post-Hawk Girl Justice League, because after what happened in the finale with the Thanagarians in Justice League. But that was, like, to your point, that is that emotional beat, and he's still kind of like, you can't do it alone. Was he trying to talk to Shire? Or was he at that point conscious and talking to the League? And it didn't matter because either way, it makes perfect sense the way he voiced it. So that was, again, great writing by Stan Berkowitz for that little emotional beat.
Mm-hmm.
I'm curious, we're recording these a little out of order, so for those of you who are just now listening, this is our first episode. We have an episode coming that we've already recorded with J.M. DeMatteis talking about For the Man Who Has Everything, which was a fantastic story that he got to adapt. I'm curious, with all the stuff you've written, Mark, and if you want to exclude your own vast library of stuff, if you could take another DC story and adapt it for the Justice League, Bruce Timm universe here, do you have one in mind that, boy, I would love to do this?
I'm convinced in my lifetime we will finally see Kingdom Come animated at some point or another.
Oh, my gosh.
I have no inside information on this, but that would be my answer to your question.
Yeah, wow. I mean, it would lend itself perfectly. And then, like I said, bring back Susan, bring back, George.
Exactly, yeah.
Oh, my gosh. The Justice League Unlimited voice cast is astonishing. We could even find some way to get Nathan Fillion in there, put a vigilante character in, and have Nathan Fillion back in as well. But yeah, that would totally lend itself. And, just stylistically, I'm sure Bruce Timm could do some stuff around Alex Ross's work or have them team up. I don't know how that would work, but I would love to see it.
You and about a million other people.
Yeah, right.
Do you have any other thoughts on this particular? Was there anything that jumped out at initiation for you, Mark, as you were kind of watching this or rewatching it, or I'm not sure how many times you've seen this one?
The other thing that jumped out at me here, which I really appreciated, was it was a rare look at the politics of being the Justice League. What is, there are sovereign countries, there are rules, there are, do we get involved in other countries' messes? And that is not something that is often hit upon with the Justice League because they're generally fighting Starro and he's beating up on everybody. So that I really appreciated the subtlety of that argument.
Yeah.
And it's timely.
Yeah, very timely. Exactly.
I wonder if they were going to put tariffs on the Javelin jets, like you couldn't bring the Javelin jets in because of tariffs. You never know. If that'd be.
I wonder if they wouldn't be let back in the country after being over there. Yeah.
Yep.
But yeah, it was one of these threats that's obviously self-contained. And I was thinking about, as to your point, I was thinking about Star Trek, the Prime Directive. You don't interfere in other, cultures and other worlds. That would the Justice League kind of needs their own Prime Directive, I guess, for an example. But when you're protecting the whole planet, gosh, that is tricky political wise.
Yeah, it is.
Are we going to see anything like that come up in your Justice League Unlimited comic? Will there be anything socio-political that they will have to deal with? Or is it going to be something about, I said earlier off camera, I'm going to try to get some information about Inferno organization out of Mark. Is there anything you can foreshadow for us without giving away any good bits?
No, give away the good bits.
Give away the good bits. So that's what we're here for.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't want to give away too much there. I will say that socio-political content at this exact moment in history is really tricky. Is really looked at through a microscope. And I would rather, maybe if I wanted to take an approach like that for a story or an arc, I might rather just sit back for a little bit and let things shake out a little bit more, perhaps, with the way through the state of the world as is right now, so that when I'm taking my shot, I really nail the mark as opposed to do a half-ass job of it.
Yeah. Yeah. I think, was it Ron Swanson who said never half-ass something, whole-ass one thing really well? So
Yep.
I can't miss either a Buffy quote or a Ron Swanson quote, so I can watch Susan roll her eyes at me. But with this,
that eye roll could have powered Los Angeles for a week.
It's the wonder eye roll, almost as dangerous when she throws her tiara at me. It's very, very deadly.
And don't get us started on the lasso, right, James?
Right? No. I'm curious, with this run, we're just now starting Justice League Unlimited. Did you have, to your remembrance, a favorite couple of episodes, either in the original or in Unlimited?
I did. I'm seriously, and not just because we're talking about this one, I really liked Initiation a lot. And I really loved the Seven Soldiers of Victory episode.
Oh, yes.
Hardcore, deep cut DC fan, I loved the sort of quasi reunion of the Seven Soldiers late in the game. That was a really strong episode.
Yeah. I love that one because you get to see the Shaggy Man come back, which if you're not a casual DC reader, or I should say if you are a casual DC reader, you might not have picked up that he's essentially the Shaggy Man from early Justice League episodes. But yeah, so good. Susan, I feel like I'm dominating again. Feel free to.
No, it's perfect. This is, Mark, if you have to do a podcast, with a partner, he's the perfect partner for me because he knows all this stuff that I don't know. If we were talking about soap operas and daytime history, I would be your girl. But all of this stuff, James, I told you when we started, you take the lead on this because you and Mark have like this secret language and I'm just on the outside appreciating it. And
that's the balance you need for a podcast, right? Mm-hmm. You need people whose common knowledge and common interest complement each other. And clearly the two of you do. Clearly the two of you are a good team here.
Yeah, I think we are.
We do pretty well, yeah. So I'll kick it back into Susan's realm then, Mark. Who's the best character villain in daytime TV, and why is it Stefano DiMero from Days of Our Lives? Go.
Okay.
We'll
save that. We'll save that for when Kin's on.
There you go. But it's been, this time flies by. I know we have a set time. I don't want to keep you too much further. So I'm going to give you the final word on Justice League animated, the Bruce Timm universe, Justice League, the DC animated universe in general. Anything that really steps out to you that you appreciate as a writer looking at all this stuff that we've got, this great content. Is there anything that really jumps out at you?
Couple of things. One is the way it all meshes together, the way it all becomes one big cohesive continuity. The other is I love the fact that by focusing on John Stewart as a Green Lantern, to millions of young kids growing up, he is Green Lantern, not Hal Jordan. And again, I have nothing against Hal. I have nothing against all of the old white guys who are superheroes. But I love the fact that John, to so many people, embodies Green Lantern, and kids can see themselves in that character in a way they couldn't see themselves in someone like Hal Jordan.
Because Hal Jordan's a little more uptight, in my opinion, but that's just me. I like the way. I like John Stewart and Kyle. They're my two favorite Green Lanterns of all time. So much fun having you on. We really sincerely appreciate you joining us for this initial episode. If people want to keep up with you, find out more about you, website, social media handles, where would you direct people? And let us know if you have any upcoming Comic Cons that people can meet you at.
I do have. I'm going to be at Tidewater Comic Con in May. I'll be there. And if you want to find more about where I'm going and what my upcoming books are and what the upcoming conventions are, it's markwaid.com. There you can go to my site and find information there. You can find me, Mark Waid Writer, on Instagram. And if you're over 50, you can find me on Facebook at Mark Waid.
I'm not, well, actually, I should say I just had my 50th. Ouch. But I will find you on Facebook too, because I think we follow each other on Instagram, but I'll have to find you on Facebook. And again, if you're listening, I'm not sure why I'm holding up the comic, but because you can't see it, but Justice League Unlimited and World's Finest, for my money, two of the best DC comics that are going on right now. Grab those. We're on issue 6 right now of Unlimited, and issue 38 is due to come out. By the time you're hearing this, it'll already be out. So go back and pick those up at your local comic book store. Mark Waid, so appreciative of your time. Thank you very, very much for joining us. And hopefully we can do it again.
I hope so too. I'm available anytime. I appreciate being invited. I am honored to be here. And Susan, next time I see you at a convention, I will just buck the line and cut right through and come up and say hello.
I hope you do. And I did Tidewater last year and it was a terrific con. So
yeah,
I wish you all the best there. And thank you for doing this. It was our pleasure.
My pleasure. If you want me to endorse this show to other people who you want to get on board, by all means, just throw my name around.
Yeah, no, thank you. We appreciate it. Take care.
All right. Take care, everyone.
Bye.
There he goes. Mark Waid, fantastic writer, just prolific with all of the characters he's done for DC and that other company he mentioned, if I don't recall.
I don't remember. This is how you know he's great, because I even know who he is.
Not a comic fan. Susan knows Mark Waid. You said he worked with you, you and George, right? You guys?
Yeah, we did. Like, I think we did some scenes of Kingdom Come. We did read some of those scenes, performed some of those scenes together for him. And yeah, I mean, and it was like, it was a pinch me moment, because when I was trying to educate myself on this whole world, the title I heard the most was Mark Waid's Kingdom Come.
Yeah.
Like I heard that the most in terms of graphic novels. Like if you want to educate yourself, start here. And so, and he's was so generous today, and he's a busy guy, and he gave us all that time. So we really appreciate it. It was actually short and sweet, just like the episode.
No,
the episode was short and sweet.
Yeah, we're kind of keeping with the whole theme here. We have Justice League Unlimited. We're starting this short episode, just 22 minutes, one-parter. Mark Waid, we got him in and out within the time we need, and he's currently writing Justice League Unlimited, so it all fits.
It does. It's perfect. It was perfect, and I just appreciate hearing his takes on things. Like when you said, what stood out for you, and he's like, a few things, and to hear a writer analyze it from his perspective, I thought it was really interesting and valuable for the listener to hear his take on it.
And for those of you wondering, like, well, why didn't you have Stan Berkowitz on? He wrote the episode. We've had Stan on quite a bit, and we want to have him back for other episodes. So we figured it might be fun, especially with the tie-in again to the Justice League Unlimited comic, to kind of mix it up on you. We're gonna zig when you think we're gonna zag, folks. We're unpredictable. Yeah, we're unpredictable. This podcast, but so much fun. And again, Mark, thank you. Mark, if you're listening to this, hopefully you're re-listening. I don't know. I don't like the sound of my own voice, so who knows if they listen. But Mark, thank you for your time. This was great fun having you on. It's always cool to chat with someone who's just, my gosh, among comic writers, he's legendary.
Legendary. I mean, that name, that can get thrown around a lot, right? People are legendary, but he truly is. And he was just so game.
Yeah.
We didn't even have to give him a Cadillac. I mean, he just showed up.
No, he sent back my check for $1,000 and said, no, I'll do this for free, which was very kind.
Wow. Wow. Because the other people didn't send it back, did they?
No, I mean, I can't tell you the number of checks Dan Reba's cashed. It's been, but he's got a lifestyle to maintain, that mansion he lives in. Come on. I understand. I think he's rehabbing a castle in Ireland, I hear.
That's what I heard.
Yeah. Obviously, we're kidding. Dan Reba, we love Dan Reba to death. Our favorite person to have on. But this has been great. So yeah, there it is. We're back, folks. Justice League Unlimited, our first episode, covering the first episode, Initiation. I thought everything went well.
It went well, and I have to say I'm very excited to revisit these episodes, because I think a lot of them I have not seen in forever, and to also reintroduce myself to all these characters in the DC universe. I mean, Green Arrow I knew a little bit, but there are many of them I don't know. So that'll be fun. And to have the different guests on, I'm excited for this season.
Yeah, no, it'll be great. And when we get to the episode that he was referring to, Seven Soldiers of Victory, the episode is called Patriot Act, if I remember correctly. Then you'll be like, oh, that's the Seven Soldiers. You'll
Did you see my blank expression?
I did. My eyes lit up. I look at you and you're like, huh? But that's all right, because I bring the comic book nerdness. Susan brings the dynamic vocals, voice talent, and her wealth of knowledge about this voice acting world and animation that she's been such a big part of. Speaking of the big part that you've been in, if people want to keep up with you online, find out more about you, this might be someone's very first episode, and they're like, holy crap, the voice of Wonder Woman's on this episode? She's the regular co-host, folks. So tell people where you can direct them for first-timers.
Okay, so Susan Eisenberg 1 on social media platforms, Blue Sky and Instagram, and then SusanEisenbergVoice.com for any Comic-Cons coming up, or if you want to email me something about the podcast or something else, you can email me there directly. And that's it for me. I only have 2 or 3 places, unlike you.
I'm like the wind. I'm everywhere.
Down.
Yeah.
Everyone sit down, because this is going to be long.
Grab a pencil.
Take a load off.
Grab a pencil.
All right, go ahead.
Yes,
where can people find you?
The website is geek2meradio.com, geek2meradio.com. You can find a back catalog of all of my previous episodes. We do a weekly radio show, actual terrestrial radio on 550 AM KTRS. But if you're not in the greater St. Louis area, you can stream us online, ktrs.com/stream every Sunday night, 10 o'clock Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific. The best thing to do would be to go to Geek to Me Radio on Facebook or find me on YouTube, Geek to Me Radio. On YouTube, hit the subscribe button, click the little bell notification because we go live every Sunday. And if my executive producer, Joey V, is in the studio, who helps me out quite a bit with this podcast as well, he streams video. So you can actually see John Kassir, the voice of the Crypt Keeper. You can actually see Susan Eisenberg when she comes on the show with me and all my multitude of guests. Mark Waid's been on the show before talking comic books, so you can check that out. And then across social media at Geek to Me Radio, mainly on Twitter, Instagram, and Threads are my most active social medias there. So check me out, follow me. My entire self-worth is wrapped up in social media. So please go follow me and hit the subscribe button wherever you find Geek to Me Radio. And then the last thing I have to mention, because by the time this episode airs, we are just like 2 or 3 weeks away from Two Rivers Comic Con. Why am I telling you about this? Because Susan is going to be there. You can meet Susan. Phil Lamar, Green Lantern's going to be there. Maria Canals-Barrera, Hawkgirl. And of course, I'm thrilled. Carl Lumley, we finally got him. I wasn't sure if it was going to happen. So Martian Manhunter will be there, along with the aforementioned Dan Reba. He's doing all sorts of sketches with Heroic Fine Art. Alan Burnett, who is a prolific writer and producer who's done a lot of DC animated stuff. He'll be there as well. So come out, get your Justice League on, hang out with us. In addition, I didn't even mention the comic book creators we have coming as well. So check out the number 2 riverscomiccon.com. Tickets are still on sale, but they're flying by now. The people are getting closer. They're like, oh, I got to get tickets. So go grab your tickets early, and hopefully we'll see you at Two Rivers Comic Con. And when I say we, me and Susan, we'll see you.
Yeah, because I'll be there.
Yeah.
Because I'll be there.
Yeah.
All right. So is that, I mean, are you finished with all your...
Now I got to sit down. I got to take a deep breath and sit down. My goodness.
All right. So listen, another one in the books, another one in the can, another one done. And we're back, baby.
Yep. It's been a long hiatus, but here we are.
Yeah, here we are. And thank you for staying with us, everybody. Thank you for joining us and for being on this journey with us. We so appreciate it. And as I like to say, please stay tuned because the story and the conversation will definitely continue.